and let you guys look at it. He independently decided, I don't think this is enough. Under our justice, under our court, you have to at least have 12 people in a box that make this decision. He independently made it. We want 12 people to look at this information and see what the result may be. I gotta believe it will be completely different. The other thing is, it's interesting enough, this video that's sitting out there that no one has seen. For everyone from the U.S. Attorney here in Baton Rouge to the FBI office in New Orleans to the State Attorney General here, for every one of them to say that that video is bad, but no one wants to give it to us. They all want to sit there and hold on to it, keep it somewhere and say, oh, I've sent it back to the federal government, or I sent it to the sources that had it. It's strange that the mayor and her office have been sitting on this video for at least 3 or 4 days, and no one has seen it. But yet we get called here today to tell them, oh, we've sent it back 3 days ago. A lot of things are strange about this case that we're going to find out real fast.
But they need to be terminated. And thank y'all.
Thank you, Chris.
Need to be terminated.
Thank you, guys.
Mayor and all of them, get out of it.
Right. All right, the attorneys for the family of Alton Sterling and others wrapping up their press conference. Their press conference at one point was almost hijacked by just some folks out there, but it was good to hear from them and at least what their next steps are going to be.
We are hearing from some of our local leaders, including Representative Pat Smith. Her reaction, basically what I expected he was going to say, extremely disappointed he waited all this time to say it, hoping BRPD chief will take some action. And there you have Representative Pat Smith and also Representative Ted James weighing in, saying he is disgusted. It's like the U.S. Attorney and Jeff Landry reviewed 2 totally different cases. Looking forward to Jeff Landry releasing the video. Why conceal the truth? Let us see and decide who to believe. I keep hearing the U.S. Attorney talk about recklessness and negligence. That is Representative Ted James. We're hearing more as local leaders find out about this decision of the officers not being charged in connection to Sterling's death.
So on page 16 of the report, folks, if you're at home at all following along, Kenneth Sanders is detailed in that, and he is that federal use of force expert that was used. He's been used all over the country in several different cases. He goes through basically the video, the one that we have seen, the cell phone video, and talks about each little thing that happens. He says the first 2 factors that he looks at are the severity of the crime, immediacy of the threat, and all of that. So he goes through and he says the use of verbal commands did not work, according to this law enforcement expert. Sanders did not have a problem with BRPD officers pulling their service weapons out and having them at the ready position. He believed that Officer Salamone pointing his service weapon at Sterling's head and using profane language was a policy issue and that Salamone should have been disciplined, but it was not a 4th or 8th Amendment issue. So, Franz, obviously, this guy says, and by the way, he says the tackle was okay, everything else he agrees with, but he did have an issue with holding the gun to Sterling's head and using profane language.
Well, we need to make sure we understand this portion of the report is dealing with civil rights violations. Apples and pineapples. This is whether or not the use of force violated constitutional rights in a civil rights pantheon. We are talking about a criminal case. So I think that's an important distinction. Now, the AG's office and others will argue that, well, there's no distinction. Well, there is a distinction. One is
like
used
everyone else has said, I'm extremely disappointed with this decision. The Attorney General said he had to look at the same burden of proof that the federal government had. And on one level, that's correct, but he's looking at state laws, not federal civil rights laws. And I believe that based on the state laws, we certainly had enough, at least, for aggravated assault, if not negligent homicide. Again, the Attorney General decided not to bring any of those charges. But let me step away and move away from that for 1 second. Because really, it's not about any of the attorneys standing up here. It's about this family. It's about the stress. And people look at this, and you can look at New York and what happened with Eric Garner and the tragic death of his daughter and fighting for justice for him. And we have a similar case right here. All these family members have gone through stress, anxiety, health issues. And for Sandra Sterling, and I'm sure you're going to hear from her in a second, and most people certainly don't know this stress has caused health issues for her as well. And I just want everybody, because when you go on Facebook and you go on Twitter and you make statements about family members and loved ones of these people, some positive, some negative, I want you to think about the families that you are affecting. And so, rather than me say any more, I think it's time that you hear again from Sandra Sterling and from the children and loved ones of Alton, and let them tell you how they feel and the effect that it's had on them. Sandra?
Constantine, do we still have our head at the top of the hour, or what are we doing?
The mic is right there.
What are we, so what?
This is what I could say. Good morning. I could tell you that my speech is kind of scared because I had to stress. But sitting in this meeting this morning, the gentle language sat at the table, and he began to talk to us. And as he started talking to everybody, I had stopped a minute and said, "Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What is your name?"
That's something we have not heard before.
Never heard that.
No, there are little bits and pieces that we have not heard. Earlier we spoke about the two women that until
Right.
today we did not
Never
know were
heard about
present.
that.
So we encourage you to go online and read the full report yourself if you're interested in this case, because there's a lot of information that we didn't know until today.
Guys in the back, if you can follow us, we're going to show in a little bit, if we can, one of us will walk over there, and I apologize for the viewers, but we want to show you exactly how you can get this report here. So we're going to pull that up and have that for you momentarily. Let's get out to Carmen Farish, who was out there while this press conference was going on with the families, and see what her take is on all of this as far as what you learned. Carmen.
Hey guys, the family and lawyers of Alton Sterling just wrapped up an emotional press conference following the announcement from the Attorney General's office.
That statement said, it said, I couldn't sleep at night at what I saw on that video. I lost sleep at night at what I saw on that video. And for you to edit only the part that he said about the decision that was made, shame on you for that. And then for Jeff Landry to say, oh, I applaud him. Shame on him, and shame on him and his committee for making that decision that he made on Alton Sterling. And for all the people that say that Alton Sterling was a bad man and he should have been killed, shame on y'all for that. Because you know what? You all have kids too. And to put Blaine Salamone back on the street of Baton Rouge, you put a killer back on the streets. So you watch your kids at night. That's all I have to say.
Ms. Sterling, have
and
you...
we don't cry no more. That's why you don't see no tears. We don't have nothing to cry about.
Have you prepared yourself to never get justice?
I'm going to get justice before my higher power.
What about the video, Ms. Sterling, the video that everyone is calling to be released?
Oh, you just wait. Now, 3 more videos are coming out about the killing of Alton Sterling. I said today that I not cry today. But this is what I'm going to ask Baton Rouge. You're going to cry again. Because when you see those other 3 videos, how Blaine Salamone killed Alton Sterling, you're going to cry again. And when you cry again, you tell the Sterling family, I'm sorry. You apologize to us. You don't have to do it to us personally, but give it to us in your prayers. Now, any more questions for me?
Is there anything you want to say to the AG?
To Attorney General, you won't get my vote, because guess what? I'm a voter. You won't get my vote, sir.
If you could speak to the officers, what would you say to them?
Shame on you, Blaine Salamoni. Shame on you for killing Alton Sterling the way you did. You took an oath to protect and serve, not to protect and kill. You made a decision that night, and it was a bad one. What? Jamal, the preacher, said in one of his sermons, you killed the wrong man, sir.
Ma'am, there are a lot of cameras here from national press.
From that summer, and we still don't know any more now than we knew then because of, again, the lack of context.
We talked about it. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off slowly, and a lot of folks now are just ready for it to come off. Even the family members have said that.
Right.
Let's just get everything out there.
They said no tears.
Yeah.
We want closure, and you didn't see, with the exception of a couple of
Right.
family members walking out today, many tears. You saw them wanting to stand up and wanting change as they move forward with this civil suit now, which is the next step.
I'll tell you, that was a really good thing for a lot of reasons, because when they came out to talk and they didn't want violence, they weren't looking for trouble. I think the way that they approached this was very important to people watching who may want to go out and protest. And like they said, they're not looking to hurt anyone else. That was very, very important. Now, depending on what happens over the next day or so, it may change, but I think Baton Rouge is calm right now.
To tell the folks at home, we've got a lot of moving parts in this. I'm not being rude to you, Clay, just looking down at different times while people